Thank you, Steve. Can you please go to the welcome and introduction slide? Next one. And one more. Thank you. I'm Rhonda Taylor from AmeriCorps Office, the Partnerships and Program Engagement, Director of Partnerships and Program Engagement. Welcome today. And I'd like to highlight my colleagues, Erin Schneider, Emily Guerrero, Shirashi Dar, and Emily Stock, who you'll also hear from later in the webinar. Next slide, please. Greetings. I'm Rhonda Taylor, as I told you. I'm pleased to welcome you to this 9/11 Day of Service and Remembrance webinar. This year, we're organizing under the banner of United Through Service as a fitting tribute to those who lost their lives and those who rose in service because of the tragedy occurring on 9/11/2001. We honor them and the outpouring of service to others that helped us all heal. Through service, we will continue to honor their memory and demonstrate that what unites us is far greater than what may divide us. Today, we'll walk you through AmeriCorps' tools and resources to help you align under this banner of service and share your commitment with others. Next slide, please. I'm going to talk a little bit about registering your project. Connecting others to your volunteer projects and leading by example is a critical part of any day of service. Again, this year, we encourage you to register your volunteer projects so others will be inspired to serve and find an opportunity to serve. Next slide, please. Again, this year, AmeriCorps has a search tool on our website. It's an aggregator tool from several other organizations. So we encourage you to register your organization and your volunteer project. Make sure you tag it, hashtag 9/11, in the title and the description if you can. There are several organizations that you can use their website to register your projects. They will then appear in our search. Idealist, Just Serve, or Volunteer Match are three of the organizations that you can use. And if you register your project and tag it 9/11, hashtag 9/11 or hashtag 9/11 day, all one word, it will appear in our feed and others can come there and find out what your project is doing, be inspired to serve, and maybe sign up to volunteer. Next slide, please. It's now my pleasure to turn it over to Erin and Emily.
Hi, everyone. I'm Erin Schneider, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about marketing for 9/11 Day. AmeriCorps.gov, oh, next slide, sorry. AmeriCorps.gov/9/11 Day is a one-stop shop for you to find resources, including how to create your own projects, register an opportunity, or even find one. We're also providing tools to help you promote your projects on social media, your website, and more. Next slide, please. As Rhonda mentioned earlier, this year's theme is United Through Service. So we're really focusing on honoring, serving, and uniting, honoring those we lost, and demonstrating unity through service. We're looking for people to cross divides, differences, and ideologies and unite through service. On the slide are just a few key messages, but we do have a whole document for you to use. Next slide. To really drive this messaging home, AmeriCorps has created a toolkit for you to use to help promote the day of service and your projects. So if you head to the socialpresskit.com/days of service, you'll find an assortment of tools and resources that can help you get set up for success. The quick list on the screen shows everything that's available to you. We've got things like social media posts, graphics, posters, media advisories, press releases, and blog posts. I think I already said that, sorry. And we also have outreach tools like sample proclamations. What's not included in there yet is the link to our PSA Day of Service video, which will be released next week. Those will be available early next week for you. Next slide, please. So I'm quickly just going to run through how to use our social media posts on the Social Press Kit. So again, if you go to the socialpresskit.com/day of service, you can scroll down to the first tab entitled Social Media Shareables. If you select any post you want, we've got Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn available for use. So if you scroll to the bottom, you can tweet directly from the Social Press Kit, or you can download the graphics in the graphic tab and create your own posts to share on social media. If you do that, we do encourage you to tag AmeriCorps at 9/11 Day and use the hashtag 9/11 Day so that we can see your content and help lift it up on our channels as well. Next slide, please. This slide just shows some of the additional content that's available to you. This year, we've made available fill in the blank templates for posters and some social media to allow you to add your event name, location, and details for your service project. So if you go into the third tab on the Social Press Kit, you'll be able to find this PDF download of the poster, and you'll be able to edit it within PDF and make it printable. I encourage you all to jump on the site today or when convenient to take a look at what's available to you. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Emily to just discuss a few earned media tips. Next slide.
Next slide, please. There we go. Sorry, didn't take myself off mute. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Emily Guerrero, and I work on the AmeriCorps Press team. I'm going to share some tips on how your organization can get earned media, aka news coverage for your events. First, make sure that you register your event with AmeriCorps so we can help support you. Next, you're going to create a media advisory to tell outlets about your exciting events. We have a template for you on our Social Press Kit that Erin mentioned, and it will help you get started. Once you've created that, you'll compile a list of outlets and reporters you'd like to contact. If you don't have a media monitoring software to find reporters, you can use a Google search. I like to search for news outlets that may have written about you in the past, but you can also search things like volunteerism and local news followed by your city or county to find news sources. Most outlets will have a news desk email on their contact page, and many have reporters' contact information listed with their bios. You'll want to email the media advisory and follow up with an invitation phone call for at least 3 days leading up to your event, but the sooner you start, the better. On the day of your event, ensure that there is one staff member who reporters can connect with for logistics, quotes, or any questions they might have. It's also helpful to have an additional staff member taking photos, videos, and posting to social media in real time to build awareness and excitement. After the event, you can use our template press release to recap the event, or if you'd like something a little less formal, you can use one of our blog templates to recap the event as well. Finally, you'll send the press release or blog, a few photos, and links to your social media to all the reporters you contacted, even if they don't attend. Oftentimes, we'll see media outlets run blurbs with photos about local events the week following, regardless of reporter attendance. If you have any questions or would like a quote from us, you can contact the press team at pressoffice@cns.gov. I'll also put that in the chat. Now I'll hand it back to Erin to discuss more about social media.
I'm back. Next slide, please. So just a couple tips on timing. This is a sample timeline that's on the screen. You do not have to follow this exactly. It's just an option for you. But we're really looking for you folks to post a few weeks out, the week of the day of your event, and the week after. So what we're really looking for is promotional content, details about your event, reminders for folks to register and sign up. And then on the day of, we'll want to see your project on social media. Having pictures of people in a group shot smiling is really great, but pictures of them serving in action are also great too. Next slide, please. A couple extra tips. Please utilize the social media graphics that I showed you in the toolkit, and make sure you tag AmeriCorps 9/11 Day. This, as I said before, this way we can help share your content, lift it up across our platforms. The primary hashtag is hashtag 9/11 Day, and there's a few others listed on the slide. This is all also listed in the social press kit up on the front page for you to use. Make sure you're following us to receive updates about the day of service so that you can keep getting more information from us as we approach September 11th. Next slide, please. I mentioned earlier, but next week we have our 9/11 Day of Service PSA launching. We plan to post it early next week. We'll have clips in the social press kit for you guys to use. There's a couple ways you can use it, posting on social media, including in your press releases or a blog post, or even playing it at the beginning of your event or during your event. Next slide. And thank you. That's all I've got from marketing and social media. If you have questions, please send them to the box sept11th@cns.gov. I'm going to turn it over to Shriyashi to talk to you a little bit more about Gov Affairs.
Thanks, Erin. Hi, everyone. I'm Shriyashi. I work on the government relations team. It's nice to see you all if you can see me. Next slide, please. Thank you. As both Rhonda and Erin mentioned earlier, this year on 9/11 Day of Service, our overarching theme and focus as an agency is promoting bipartisan service. So for any events that you're holding, we'd really encourage you to reach out to both Democrats and Republicans in your local community and ask them to serve together on this National Day of Service. This is an excellent opportunity for all Americans to put aside political differences and unite in service. So these elected officials could be at the federal level, at the state level, or at more of a local level. We also have provided here our 9/11 Day of Service proclamation for your reference, which could be very helpful to you on the day of service when you pull everyone together. And so, you know, as both Emily and Erin mentioned earlier, like, please share your success. And what does that look like from our perspective in the Office of Government Relations? Just letting us know that you had elected officials come and who were those folks. Whether it's at the federal level, the state level, or the local level, that's really going to be helpful for us here to be able to know who we can count on or reach out to this time next year when we're hopefully doing this again. And that's just, again, furthering our engagement process and also knowing who we can count on as allies and how we can get more folks involved who might not have this time around, but would next year be a great source. So that's us here in the government relations team. If you have any questions, please let us know. Feel free to contact us directly at governmentrelations@cns.gov. And now it's my pleasure to introduce my colleague, Emily Stock.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. My name is Emily Stock. I'm the project manager for volunteer initiatives with AmeriCorps, and I'm new to the agency. This is my very first September 11th, and I'm very excited to be here and to help support all the great work that you guys are doing locally. Next slide, please. So I'm here to talk today about becoming a champion. You all are doing such great work in your communities with this day of service. We want to help amplify, it's kind of the theme of today's conversation, amplify the work that you're doing. And we're asking you to become a champion, which you probably already are. You can go to this website and fill out a short form. And that will get you access to the tools and resources. It will also get you a badge that you can share on your website that is showing that you are a champion for this 9/11 Day of Service. And it'll give you an opportunity to maybe invite some AmeriCorps leaders to your service site. If we know what you're doing, if you're part of the champion program, we can help make that connection. It's just a short form with a couple of short questions that we're asking you to fill out, and that'll get you all set up, and that will help show that you are a champion of this day of service, and it'll help us amplify the work that you're doing in your community. And that's all I have. And I think up next is questions. So next slide, please.
Hi, if anyone has a question, you can either put it in the Q&A feature, or you can raise your hand and Mike will unmute you. Any questions? There's one in the Q&A.
I think Katie, did you have a question? Or Katina, sorry, Katina Duggar. Can you unmute?
No, I'm sorry. It was an accident.
Hi.
We have one question in the Q&A. Will this PowerPoint be shared? We will share it. It takes us about a week to get it up online though. Two more questions in the chat. Is the 9/11 Day Champion different than the 9/11day.org coalition? Are they related? They're related in the sense that we're that the 9/11day.org is one of our grantees at AmeriCorps, and one of the prime partners for the 9/11 Day of Service and Remembrance. They are the ones responsible for helping get it started. Ours is slightly different because you'd be joining the federal effort officially to promote 9/11 as a day of service and remembrance, and your involvement in it. What were the key messages again? Aaron, do you want to go over at a high level a few of them and then direct them to the easiest way to find them?
Yeah, so the social press kit houses everything. It's under communications, messaging, and templates. It's the second tab in the press kit. You can find a full one-page document full of key messages, but to hammer home the points, it's united through service. We're really looking to talk about crossing divides and yet uniting through service this year, while honoring those lives that were lost on 9/11 and the heroes of that day. If you have any more questions, if the key messaging, if you have any more questions about it, you're welcome to email the inbox, but I suspect the document will be helpful, and I will put it in the chat right now.
So just as a follow-up, I would repeat our web address, americorps.gov/911-day. If you're looking for the social press kit, you can scroll down, click on resources, and you'll find on that next page, you'll find a link to the social press kit. What is the best way to see what others are doing for their 9/11 Day projects, regionally or statewide specifically? After a good chunk of people register their projects, you can use our search tool, and you can search by zip code. You can search by city, city and state, I think. And it will show you there's a little button on the top, and you can click on 9/11 and then do your geographic search. I would suspect that next week it will be a better week to do that search, because we're really doing a hard push this week to get people to register their projects. Any other questions? Do you have any recommendations for intermediaries that have projects that are spaced out? I don't know if you mean geographically spaced out or over time. Emily, do you have a sense of that with any of the day of service grantees yet?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Yeah.
I would check back the project listings.
Yep. If you would email us, you can just use engagement at cns.gov. If you would email us, we'll try to track down some of that answer for you. I know that Youth Service America has some geographically spaced out projects. Although not a grantee, there's an organization called Carry the Load that works with the Veterans Administration to do cemetery cleanups on national cemeteries. Carrytheload.org, and they have a map where their projects are. There's also an organization called The Mission Continues. They have projects that are spread out beginning on the 10th, I believe, of September, and then the next weekend on the 17th. The Mission Continues, and they have a 9/11 project listing. Those are the three that I know, plus the meal packs that are being done by 911day.org in 11 cities across the country, but they're all on 9/12 except Los Angeles. And their locations are Boston, New York, Philadelphia, DC, Atlanta, St. Louis, Chicago, Minneapolis, Phoenix, Dallas, Los Angeles. Los Angeles is on the 11th. Everything else is on the 12th. Any other questions? Yes, we'd still love you to register your project, even if it's after 9/11, but and not open to the public, because it gives people ideas of what they could do too. Thank you. Okay, anything else? Anyone else want to raise their hand to ask a question?
You should be able to speak now.
Pardon me?
I asked Scott to unmute. He should be able to speak now. There he. Oh, try again.
Okay, I don't see any other written questions at this time. If there are no hands raised, I'd like to thank my colleagues and thank everyone who joined us for this webinar today. We look forward to reading about your projects and learning who came out to serve with you. And Raphael, I don't know the answer to that question. Thank you for the last question. I don't know the answer if you can see all opportunities in a state or not. If you email me at the email address I just put in the chat, I'll try to find that out for you. So thank you everyone once again, and we will sign off. Thanks for joining us. Bye.